All right. Hello. My name is Bobby Lynn Kekik, and I'm the Executive Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding. I use she, her pronouns, and I am so glad to be here with you today. We are going to invite our campus experts to speak on financing your students' education in just a moment. But before we do, I just wanted to give some insight into what a Falcon Live Chat is. So our Falcon Live Chat series is our on-demand webinars that act as our family orientation programs throughout this summer. It allows us to bring a little bit of Bentley to you. We are really fortunate that we have a global campus, global community, where we have students and family members joining us from all across the world. So we recognize that this may not be a convenient time for everyone. Right now, we are located in Waltham, Mass, and it is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we recognize that it looks very different for everyone else. So we are recording this session for folks to view at a later date. We post all of these recordings on our Bentley Orientation YouTube channel. And you can access that by going to our New Falcon Experience webpage, and you'll find a direct link there. There's also a direct link for you to sign up for future live chats. And we have a variety of topics left for the summer, focusing on health, well-being, campus expectations, different community meetings, how to get started once your student is here on campus. So a lot of topics left to go. So please definitely do register for those, or as I mentioned, you're welcome to view those on demand from our YouTube channel. Throughout our presentation, you are welcome to add any questions to the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Please note that we will get to those questions at the end. And if you do have something that is a little bit more personal in nature, we do ask that folks reach out individually to the staff members who are presenting today offline. We recognize that finances can be an individual personal topic, and so want to make sure that we give space for that. Today we'll be answering more of the questions for the general good of the group. And if there's something that we are unable to answer during this time together, you're always welcome to submit a New Falcon question form or reach out to us individually, and we're happy to continue the conversation. With that being said, I am going to turn it over to Sarah and Becky to introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and get started with our topic today, which is financing your students' education.
Hi, everybody. My name is on the top. My name is Sarah Barker. I'm the Assistant Director of Financial Assistance in the Office of Student Financial Services.
Hi, everybody. My name is Becky Turner. I am the Student Account Representative in Students Accounts, so we're handling the billing and the payments.
So today we're going to focus on three primary areas. I'm going to first talk about how the costs of education are determined, and then we'll give you an overview of the funding and options and opportunities for outside scholarships. And then finally we'll need to have them another presentation. Okay, so first, determining educational costs. So as you look at the cost of attending college, as you probably are well aware, there are costs into COE costs. If you look at the chart here at the top, you'll notice that we have direct costs, which are billed on students' account, and then we also have indirect costs. So for the direct costs, we have the tuition, the room plan, and student. Now, keep in mind that if your student is not living on campus, they will not be billed for housing. So this is an example here for a student who is living on campus, taking advantage of the largest meal plan that we have. So,
Sarah, excuse me, one quick question. Can you lean into your screen a little bit more? It's just a little difficult to hear you. And so I just want to make sure that folks are able to hear you clearly.
Is that better?
That is perfect.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so not sure what you didn't hear, but just to recap very briefly, your student will have direct costs billed on their student account, which is what we call Workday. And then there will also be indirect costs for attending Bentley, such as books and supplies and personal expenses, which could include travel to and from campus, as an example. If your student does not live on campus, then they will not be direct billed for their housing costs. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some of the ways you can help fund education. So hopefully, if you're on this webinar, your student has completed a financial aid application for Bentley and has been awarded. If your child or student was recently admitted and there still is no award letter, that would be something that we would be working towards completing as soon as we have all the information from the family. One of the things I just wanted to point out, it's not on the slide, but the federal government did revamp the FAFSA form this year, which has created some significant delays for all colleges. So if for any reason you had a difficult time filling out the FAFSA form, please know you were not alone. And we're well aware that some delays were not the family's fault. It was based on the federal glitches in the system with the revised FAFSA form. So having said that, once you receive your student's aid award letter, you may have an out-of-pocket balance due that you need to figure out how to cover that. To do so, you can look at need-based aid options, which can be in the form of federal loans or alternative loans. So basically, if you qualify for federal loans by being either a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident with a full-time enrollment status, then there are loans that are available to the students. There's also something called the Parent Plus loan, which is available to U.S. citizens and permanent residents who are parents of students enrolled in college. For families that are from other countries, there are alternative or private loans. Those loans typically do require a U.S. cosigner, so just something to be aware of. They are out there, but the requirements are slightly different. So as you look at when to consider getting a loan, we're going to talk a little bit more later in the presentation about when your student's bill is due. But we recommend you wait until you see that student fall bill and then apply for your loan at that time. And we understand that if this is your first time applying for loans, it can be an overwhelming process. So our office is here to help you. Each of you has an assigned counselor for your student based on the first letter of your last name. And those counselors' information is posted on our website. So I don't expect anyone to take notes on this. It's a lot of information. This is a very heavy, text-heavy slide, but just know that we do have a lot of resources that we can share with you. And if you find that you have a specific question, you can reach out later. So we do have also some outside scholarship links, which can help you finance your students' education. And we also talked about the alternative loans. We have a link to a website called elmselect.com, which you can take a look at all the lenders that are available to you, but you can also use lenders that are not shown on that website. It's just these are lenders that we have existing relationships with. For international students, there are some scholarship opportunities, and again, there are private loans. There are some other resources here that are also listed as well. Okay, over to Becky.
All right. So now on to billing and paying tuition. So we know you're attending Bentley. We know you're going to get a bill. When are you going to get the bill and when is it due? So this slide is going over those important dates. So your fall 2024 charges are going to post to your workday accounts or your students' workday accounts around July 9th through the 12th. We say July 9th, but sometimes it's a few days afterwards. So to be on the safe side, we're going to say between July 9th and July 12th. If you plan on making a payment in full for the entire amount that's on that workday bill, the due date is August 6th this year for undergrad students. If you plan on enrolling in our payment plan, so our office offers a payment plan which breaks that balance due into up to 4 installment amounts, and they will be due on the 15th of each month from August through November. And you can see the breakdown on that slide there. We'll get into the nitty-gritty on how the payment plan works and stuff, but these are just the dates that you should keep in mind as to when the bill is going to come out and when those due dates are. All right, so the billing information. So as I said, we haven't actually billed for the fall semester as of yet. If you're curious as to what your bill might be ahead of time, we do have a rate sheet that can be found on the student accounts website. If you go to the Bentley website, you type in the search bar rate sheet, the first link should lead you to the site that has that rate sheet on there, and you can click on it. It has information on tuition, the student activity fee, parking, housing, meal plan, health insurance. It has all of the stuff that's basically included on your workday account that you're going to be responsible for. We do advise that students are responsible for setting up third-party users that need access to view the student account and make payments. So our office adheres to FERPA regulations, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So once students are at least 18 years old, or once they enroll in college, they are considered an adult. The information that's included on their workday accounts is personal to them. If they do not grant you that third-party access, we cannot share detailed information. So if a parent calls in and wants to know how much their student's bill is for, and they don't have that third-party access, we cannot give that information out. So we really encourage students, if they want to have their parents or third-party users involved in their billing and payment process, they would really need to have that third-party access assigned to those parents and third-party users. When we do bill for each semester and each time a new charge is added on the account, we try and keep up with those. Students and third-party users will be emailed when activity is posted. So when we do post the fall 2024 billing, you will receive an email from our office stating that the billing has been finalized, that you should log into Workday to monitor your student account. We do not send out paper billing. So Workday will be how you will access those bills. So we definitely recommend you pay attention to your emails so that you can receive those updates as they come through. The statements are in real time and change based on the activity of the student account. So on Workday, you can view account activity. You can also pull up a statement which breaks out the information a little bit differently than you would viewing the account activity. The due date is about a month after or so when we post the billing. We do have past due holds, which are placed onto accounts after 14 days if the balance has not been paid in full. A past due hold will prevent a student from adding or swapping any courses and will prevent the request of a transcript or diploma. And then about 14 days after that point, a $100 late payment fee is charged. So 30 days or so to pay your bill. Otherwise, there are those ramifications. All right, and then this is a sample student bill. It has a student name, the student ID, the academic period, and as you can see, it breaks out the student accounts transactions based on charges, payments and credits, anticipated payments, and refunds. So charges and payments, kind of self-explanatory. Any charges you have on there are going to be listed under that charges. Payments and credits, so anything that's been fully applied to the account is going to show under there. Anticipated payments are where your financial aid is going to sit before it's dispersed. So if you're expecting a loan, but we haven't received the funds from the loan company as of yet, we know it's coming. We don't want you to pay extra on top of that. So we put it in anticipated payments because we know it's coming. So that's where that section is. If you're son or daughter receives a refund during the term, that's where that information is gonna sit. The one other thing I like to point out is under where it says student statement, you see the balance from this period. So that shows how much is still owed for this specific term. Balance from past or future periods. So that's going to show if you have a balance remaining due from a previous balance, or sorry, a previous term. So you had a $20 late fee or something to that effect. That would show there if it was from a previous term. That kind of confuses some people. So just like to point that part out. All right, so the nitty-gritty on the payment plan. So again, the payment plan is available to all students, graduate, undergraduate. Only the students can enroll in the payment plan. So it's done through their Workday account, and third parties can use or can make the payments when the student has enrolled, but only the student can do the enrollment process. The fall 2024 plan is a maximum of 4 installments, which are due August through November 15th, but it really depends on when you enroll. If you enroll after the August due date, but before the September due date, you're going to have 3 installments. If you're going to enroll after the September due date, before the November, then you get 2 installments. So that's kind of how that part works. The absolute last day to enroll in the payment plan is September 20th. So the max or the least number of installments that you'll have on that plan is 2, because that would be the September and November. The plan is interest-free, but there is a $35 enrollment fee. It gets added to your total balance before it's broken down into those installments. The students have to agree to the terms and conditions before they can enroll in the plan officially. Sometimes students forget to do this part, and so they're kind of in a limbo. They say, oh, I enrolled in the plan, but I don't see the installments on my Workday account. In that case, we always say you need to go to your Workday inbox, and there's a little inbox notification saying to agree to the terms and conditions. Once you do that, then you'll start seeing those installments show up on your Workday. Again, past due holds and a $20 late payment fee. So if the payment is not paid in full by the due date, 14 days or so afterwards, you'll end up with that $20 late payment fee and the hold on the account. The semester or the plan does not roll over to the next semester. You have to go through the enrollment process every term that you want to participate in the plan. All right, so we accept many different payment methods. The one that seems to be the most popular is the e-check or the ACH payments made through Workday. There is no fee associated with that. You just add your bank account and routing number onto Workday, and then you initiate the payment. Done. Call it a day. You can also do a credit card payment through Workday, but there are convenience fees that are paid to the processor. So the domestic amount is 2.95% and international is 4.25%. So depending on how much you're paying, it can get a little pricey. You can always send a paper check to our office. We ask that you please make it payable to Bentley University and that you include the student's ID on the check or the accompanying documentation. If you want to put in a little note, that's fine too. But we would definitely ask for the student ID to be included somewhere so that we know who to apply the account to. If you'd like to make a wire payment, all wire payments are done through Flywire, and that's the link that you would use. There's also a link on our payment options page. You click on it, it says pay now with Flywire. You click on that and it takes you right to the form, so it's super easy. We also accept cryptocurrency if you have and would like to use that. We accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, and US dollar coin. And again, those are initiated directly on the student accounts payment options website. And then once all the payments are made, if you end up with a credit balance on your student account, you can request a refund. It's super easy. You go to your Workday account, you type in create request on your search bar, and it basically guides you through the process that way. But we do process those in a timely basis. Once we get them, we try to do them within a few days. And then the default method of payment is via paper check, but you can always add your bank account and routing like you would to make a payment to Bentley. You could also use that bank account as a direct deposit, and we would deposit refunds there as well.
Oh, well, this was so much valuable information, and I feel like I always learn something new every time that I'm in this webinar. So I want to thank Sarah and Becky for sharing this information. And now I want to open it up to folks for any questions that you may have. As I mentioned, if it is more personal in nature, we do ask that you have your students reach out to their financial aid counselor or fill out that new Falcon question form so that we can personally assist you with your individual question. But if we do have any questions for the good of the group, do want to invite you all to answer those or ask those right now. I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see all of our panelists and we'll start answering those questions. There is a question about applying for loans, and it says it's advised to wait for bill before applying for loans. Is 4 weeks enough time? So I don't know if Sarah, maybe you can speak to that.
Sure. So the loan process does take 2 to 3 weeks from the time a family applies for the loan and is approved by the lender. And then that information is transferred to our system, and then we review that loan based on the cost of attendance to make sure we're not over rewarding the aid. And then the loan shows up on the account as an anticipated payment until such time as the funds are received at the university from the lender, whether it's a federal loan or whether it's a private loan. While the funds are on the account showing as anticipated payments, that amount is then removed from the balance due so that the family can have a better idea of what they owe. So along those same lines, once you see the bill and the student's financial aid award is applied as showing as pending or anticipated, then you can get a rough idea of how much your out-of-pocket costs are going to be for the billable items. So again, keeping in mind that there are billable items and then there are other out-of-pocket expenses that are not billed through the university, you can apply for a loan for the maximum amount of the cost of attendance. What that allows you to do is then once the loan is certified, you can then request a refund using the process that Becky described and use those funds to help cover the costs of books or any other personal related expenses to college, like purchasing a computer, for example. The important thing with the loan, in addition to, we do recommend you wait until you see the fall tuition bill and your financial aid package, is also to keep in mind that loans are typically split between fall and spring semesters. So if you think you're going to need $5,000 for the fall, we recommend you apply for double that amount for the spring. Finally, I just wanted to add that there are federal loan origination fees. So sometimes people apply for the exact amount that's showing on their bill, not realizing that there's going to be a little piece of that that's removed before the money is dispersed because of the federal loan origination fees. So if you go with an amount that's too big ultimately than what you need long term, you can always email your counselor and just say, gosh, we'd like to return, $3,000 for the year back to the lender. And then we make those arrangements for the student.
Wonderful. I know there was a question about, are there scholarships available for students to apply to during the school year? Any information or thoughts on that?
Yes. So this is a situation where the scholarships that are awarded to Bentley students are awarded by the Office of Admissions based on the student's high school performance. So there are no Bentley scholarship opportunities once a student has enrolled. However, we can send a link for outside scholarships that we just touched on briefly earlier. So if a student brings in an outside scholarship, we do everything we can to fit it into their package. We do have to abide by the federal requirements. So if a student is highly needy and has a pretty substantial package. Sometimes in order to fit in an outside scholarship, we may have to make some adjustments to the package, such as removing federal work study or removing an unsubsidized loan in order to make room for that gift aid.
That's actually a really great lead into the next question. It says, if we were awarded money for a federal direct unsubsidized loan, is there anything I need to do to make sure Bentley gets those funds?
Yes, great question. So on the student's award letter, it's typically on I believe it's the last page. There is information showing what is needed to accept the loans. We do need the student to complete the master promissory note and the entrance loan counseling. So sometimes students get confused and perhaps might have a parent go in and, if they're sharing federal student IDs, not a good idea. The student does need to be the one to complete those requirements.
There's one more question in there right now that says, does the books and supplies fee of $1,300, is that the final cost, or there are additional costs associated with depending on the course?
Yes, so those are estimated costs. Each course is unique. So we recognize that some students may have lower book costs or slightly higher. So yeah, it's a rough estimate.
Wonderful. As we're waiting for any more questions that come in, just want to open it up, Becky, if there's if there's a typical question that you usually get, or any advice or anything else you'd like to throw out there from your perspective.
Sure. So as I had mentioned, the payment plan is really date driven. So we would definitely recommend, if you are planning on using the payment plan, once you get the email from us stating that the bills for the term are available, that might be a good time to log into your Workday, check out your payment, what's going to be due, and enroll in the plan then and there. That way you will be guaranteed, as long as you do the terms and conditions, that way you'll be guaranteed the 4 payments for the term. That's what I like to tell students and parents. You're already on there looking at the bill anyway. The enrollment process is super quick and easy, takes less than 5 minutes. So that would definitely be something we would recommend doing if possible.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
One quick thing I wanted to mention is that loans can be combined with the payment plan.
Yes, thank you.
That's very helpful if you're looking at spacing this out over the semester.
Wonderful. There was one more question that just came in, and it says, how do we apply funds from a 529 plan?
Sure. So a 529 plan is a like a college savings plan, so like a MIFA or anything like that. So typically students and parents will work with the plan directly and have them, they can either cut a check, same way that a person would write a personal check, make it payable to Bentley University, put the student's name and ID on there somewhere so that we know where to put it. But typically they work directly with the 529 company. And then depending on which 529 plan you are using, some of them have also partnered with Flywire so that we can get payments through Flywire for a 529 plan. So they would want to talk to the 529 plan representative, see what their options there are there for physical versus a virtual payment, and then the 529 representative would be the one who would actually initiate the payment. We would get the notification and apply it however need be.
Wonderful. And that can be used with the payment plan as well, the 520 plan.
Yep. So the payment plan adjusts once payments are made. So say a parent makes a partial payment to an installment, the payment plan will adjust and will take that current installment and reduce it by that same amount.
And I believe you already mentioned this, Becky, but if folks go with the payment plan, that is interest free, but it does have a $35 installment fee.
Yep. So it's interest free, but it's a one-time $35 enrollment fee each time you enroll. So each term you enroll, it'll be that $35.
Okay, I see the next question about the FAFSA. So again, if you look at the student's award letter, it should be on the second or third page in the fine print where to go. But basically, you're going back into the studentaid.gov website and accessing the master promissory note and the entrance loan counseling at that site. And again, it must be done under the student's FSA ID.
And I see the next one, if we could please repeat where they allow parents to see the financial account. So depending on the permissions that your child grants, you would be granted your own Workday account. So if a student grants you permission to view the student account, view the student activity, and or pay the bill online, you will be a username and password will be generated for you. You'll get 2 emails. And you would just follow the instructions on those emails, set up your own Workday account, and then you'll be able to make payments online. It's connected to your student's Workday. So any payments that you make will go directly towards their bill. So that's how you would get the finances if you are a third party. If you're not a third party, you're going to have to rely on your student to relay the information to you.
And we do have instructions for creating the third-party request on our website. So if you just go to bentley.edu/new Falcon experience, we have the third-party access instructions. And we also have some of this information that has been shared today around payment methods and payment plans. So, and it links off to their website as well. So if you're like, oh goodness, where do I go? If you go to the New Falcon Experience website, all of those links will help to direct you to these questions as well.
And I see we have a question about outside scholarships. It's the question is, how are they routed? Are there any stipulations? So each outside scholarship is unique to that foundation. So we do ask that you send a copy of the outside scholarship letter to your student's financial aid officer. And then the payments are sent directly to the cashier's office. So we're all one team, but it's 2 parts because our team will analyze and make sure that the outside scholarship fits into the need of the student's financial aid award. And then the billing office, of course, is watching to collect the payment.
Right. And then I also see how many third parties can be added to Workday. That's an excellent question. I don't know if there's a certain limit. I've seen students with up to 5. I'm not sure, again, if there is an actual technical limit, but it's definitely something we can look into if you're expecting more than 5.
Wonderful. Well, we'll give it one more moment in case, oh, we just got another question.
Okay. It looks like this is in regards to the outside scholarship. So I believe the address for the billing office is on the slide somewhere at the beginning or the very end.
Yep.
So because we have merged into one office now. So if you send it to our office, it'll get to the right place. But so I think hopefully that answers. Okay, the question of how late can you apply for outside scholarships? There's really no limit. If we can fit an award into the student's package, even if it comes in, in October or November, we'll certainly do our best to apply it to the account. The same would go for spring if it were spring only award.
So
Yes,
the next question is not seeing the instructions for adding a third party on the New Falcon Experience website.
Yep. So it's underneath the family page. I'll link that specific family resources one. So let me link that one in for folks. This is the tab off the top. but let me add that in for quick reference.
I see a question about common sites for external scholarships. We do have a link on our webpage, but some of the most popular ones are www.finaid.org, fastweb.com, collegescholarships.org, and scholarshipsnap.org. I don't know if you want me to try to put that in the chat.
And I logged in New Falcon Experience, then the family information and resources at the bottom is where you'll see the access for third party. But then I just went ahead and linked in some other instructions for Workday. So that way you have that in there. There are other ways that your students will be using Workday. So the Workday student website is a really great resource so that they have some good instructions to help to support that. On that website is also a button that says, if you have more questions, you can click that. And we have new this year, a new Falcon question form. So this is for students and for families. So if there are any other questions that come up, you are welcome to submit a form from there. There's actually a tab right there. If you want to connect in with Student Financial Services, those questions go directly to them. So you can go ahead and connect in there. As was mentioned earlier, your student does have a specific financial aid counselor for them. So it is helpful to connect with them directly, but know that that question form is there for folks. So if you go there, we can help to reroute you to the appropriate person as needed. I just want to make sure that we're not missing any more of the questions that were asked. Well, I want to thank you both again for coming here and presenting. As I said, this is such rich, valuable information. This is recorded. So for folks on this chat, if you want to come back and see those slides or revisit this information, please know that that will be available. And for those of you who are viewing this as a recording, please do use that new Falcon question form so that you can ask any of those questions that might be looming after viewing this content. I want to thank everyone again for joining us, and we look forward to continuing the conversation with you throughout the summer, and we'll see you in the fall. Thanks so much.